Hey everybody, welcome back to Hey Let's Practice. This is Brett, helping you practice your way through the Hal Leonard guitar method, and it is time. It is finally here. We're learning chords. I know that you've probably, if you've been playing through these videos, playing through the book, you're thinking, man, it's kind of fun to learn notes. Maybe you've never read music before in your life, and you've had some questions about that kind of stuff, but you're probably thinking, hey, I want to play around the campfire this summer. I want to play songs with my friends. I want to just sit in my bedroom and jam and all that kind of stuff. When are we going to learn some chords? Well, today's the day. And you want to stick around a little bit longer into the video for a practice tip for chord transitions, going from one chord to a different chord, that is going to make a huge difference in how quickly you get the idea of chord transitions. So the two chords we're going to learn today, a chord, by the way, is when you play more than one note at a time. So if I just play these two strings at the same time, I'm playing a chord, right? But what we usually mean by chords is I'm putting my fingers in a particular place on the fretboard to create, a larger sound with more notes at one time. So we're going to be learning two different chords today. We're going to be learning a C chord, and we're going to be learning a G7 chord. Now, what does 7 mean? What does a C chord mean? What does G7 mean? We'll get into all of that material as time goes by. But we have two versions of each chord to make the transition a little easier. And also, if you have small hands and you honestly just can't reach like this sort of a thing, if this is really painful for your hand or tough to accomplish, then we have one finger versions of both of these chords. So if you look at the diagrams at the top of the page, the C chord has a 1 for your first finger on the first fret of the B string, which produces a C, as we know. And if I just strum the top 3 strings, I get a C chord. I get a G, my open G, I get a C, and I get my open E string. So I get a easy C chord. Now the full C chord also has my third finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, which, as we know, is a C. Oh, sorry. There we go. And our second finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, which, as we know, is an E. Okay, so we've got a C here, we have an E here, we have a G here, we have a C here with that first fret, and we have an E up top, open E. And we don't play the open E string. If you accidentally hit it, that's okay, because E is part of the chord. So if you have an extra one, that's okay. But try not to hit it. Try to make the C the bottom note of the chord. Now, one way that you can practice this and sort of get used to that hand position is go ahead and place your fingers in all the right places. C here, E here, open G string, C up here, open E string. And just kind of sit here and go. Just up and down the strings. And don't move your hand. Just leave it there. And there is a basic C chord. And then the other chord that we have is what we call the G7 chord. And that uses the same 3 fingers, but now we're going to take that first finger and we're going to fret an F. And now if we hit the top 3 strings, this is your 3-string or 1-finger G7 chord, I get, and that's a nice basic G7 chord. But if you want the full G7 chord, then I take my 3rd finger, put it on the 3rd fret of the E string, which gives me a G down here. and I take my second finger, put it on the A string, gives me a B. Here's my G, here's my B, and I reach all the way over here and I play my F. Okay, that's the full G7 chord. Now again, you can just leave your hand like that and just go up and down. Like that. Now, if you're at home and you're doing this for the very, very first time, it's very, very possible that you're not sounding, that not every single note, individual note of the chord sounds good. Because let's say you're playing the C chord, but you're not quite fretting only the C with your third finger. Maybe your third finger is a little flat. So if I play my C and I get this. So I try to play a C and an E, whoops, sorry, C and an E. Right? So try to make sure that when you're fretting a note, you're only fretting that string, just that string with that finger. You're not touching any other strings. Later, we want to touch other strings in order to mute them while we play other notes, but we're not doing that right now. So when we play the C chord, play every string, see if you can make sure that they all sound. When you play the G7 chord, same thing. Right? And if you're getting some of this, then watch what I'm doing with my hand. I do this. I know it's kind of subtle, but it takes my fingers off of the excess strings. There we go. Okay. Now, let's take a look at exercise 33. Now, I'm going to play a C chord for 4 beats, and then I'm going to transition to the G7 chord, and then I'm going to transition back to the C chord. I'm going to transition back to the G7 chord. I'm going to transition back to the C and play that whole note. So what we need to do now is place our fingers on the C chord and strum it 4 times. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And if you're doing the 1-finger C chord, just strum the top 3 strings. Okay? So I play 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I take my fingers and I place them on that G7 chord. I'm not worried about making sure that I'm doing this in strict tempo right now, but I place them on the G7 chord. Take your time and go 1 finger at a time if you have to. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to place my fingers back, do the C chord again. 2, 3, 4. And then move my fingers again. 4 times, and then back to the C. 3, 4, done. Okay, now, how can I make sure that I'm being accurate with going from a C chord to a G7? Okay, here's my C chord right here, right? Right? Now, to go to the G7, I take these 2 fingers and I move them 1 string over. And I take this finger and I move it 1 string over the other direction. And when I move back to the C, I take those 2 fingers, move them back, take this finger, move it back. Go to the G7, take these 2 fingers, move them up, and this finger, move it back. When I go back to the C, take these 2 fingers, move them back, move this one up. Whoops, sorry. Okay? So, 1, 2, slowly go. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Now move your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now I want, if you haven't noticed it already, every time I transition chords, I did this. I moved these 2 first and then this one. Eventually you want to move everything at the same time. But at first, by the way, this isn't the practice tip that I promised. That's coming in a minute. At first, just move these two first and then this one. So I'll do it one more time slowly. Here we go. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move, move. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move, move. 1. Okay, so that's kind of a sort of a beginner's way to do your chord transitions. Now, here's the practice tip that I promised you. If you sit here and stare at the book and then stare at your hands and stare at the book and stare at your hands, you're going to get bored. I promise you, you're going to get bored. And you're going to stop, and you're only going to get like 8 or 10 or maybe 15, 20 reps in. Here's the trick. Put on some TV, put the pick down, and strum with your thumb, and just watch some Parks and Rec. Watch some what's the big series that's out right now? I'll be dating this video a little bit. Severance or The Pit or something like that. And you're just going, you're watching TV and you're just going. There it is. And you're just watching TV. And strumming with your thumb means it's kind of soft. It's not too hard on your fingertips. And you get to watch some, dramatic TV or a comedy or something. Maybe you're watching a TED Talk, who knows. You're just watching TV, watching some YouTube, and just doing this until your fingers start to hurt. When your fingers start to hurt, take a break. Go get a sandwich, walk the dog, whatever. Come back, put the TV back on, and you're back at it. Just watching. Hey, isn't that Ron Swanson guy really funny? And just do it over and over and again, over and over again, over and over again. And if you're doing the one finger version at first, which is totally cool, right? Nothing wrong with some. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Eventually add the second finger. So now we're saying. Right? And eventually add the third finger. And so forth, right? So there's your practice tips for basic chord transitions. Now, eventually we're going to have to do chord transitions from chords that are less related to each other position-wise, but again, you'll get used to going from a D to a G7, to a C, to an F, and so forth. And you'll get used to all these things. But just repetition, repetition, repetition. Every time you do it, it teaches you a little bit. So don't be afraid of repetitions. All right? Here, welcome to chord world. Welcome to chord transition land. And take your time, have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.